Alright, welcome back guys. So since this is a beginner's level Power Query, we are not going to be going deep into some advanced use cases of Microsoft Power Query. Although at Learn with Wida, you can always request for advanced classes or you can request for one-on-one mentorship as regards to advanced classes. But we are still going to be looking at some basics that is for beginners as far as Power Query is concerned. We've explained what the merge queries is, and we've explained what the append query is. The append queries is basically you stacking two of your data sets together to make it a whole. Let's see how we can make it, or how we can do it in real life. For example, let's say we have two data sets. Let's duplicate this to make it two. So we have Superstore 1, Superstore 2. Let's call this orders instead. Inside of the Superstore table, let us choose the columns and restrict it to let's deselect all, then select only the first name and the last name of the customers, then OK. Now we're going to also keep the top 50 rows. Let's keep the top 50 rows of the customers. So now that means in table customer, in this table Superstore, we only have 50 records. Now let's do something very similar to the orders table. We are going to choose columns and then make it just first name and the last name. OK. And then we are going to keep, in this case, we are going to keep the bottom rows. Let's say we want to keep the bottom 30 rows. Then OK. Now you will realize that inside of Superstore datasets, inside of the Superstore table, we have 50 records, and inside of the orders table, we have 30 records. And now the next thing that we want to do is we want to append these two tables together to make it a single whole. We can come to the append queries. We can append the queries so that the two of them are going to be joined together, or we can append as new so that we are going to have the third table, which is going to be the combination of the two of them. This the second option is recommended so that you're not going to affect the original data set that you have. But sometimes to enhance performance and how fast your computer is going to be, depending on your computer or any system that you are using, you may want to go for the first option as well, so that you are not going to have multiple tables inside of your Power Query. So let's try the append as new option. And the dialog box is going to ask us how many tables do we want to concatenate or join together. So we want to join the Superstore table and the orders table. Then we're going to say OK. And what we're going to realize is that the two tables will now be merged together, and now we're going to have 80 records. So this is how to append queries in Microsoft Power Query. Append query is basically stacking up the rows. We want to add specific number of rows to another number of rows in our table. But when it comes to merge columns or merge queries, it's quite different from what we have inside of the append tables. Now let's take this off, since we now understand how to append tables, and also revert the steps that we've taken before. Let's return back our table, remove columns, renamed columns, yes. And then we are going to take off the orders table, since we are still going to maintain the orders table since we want to join two tables together. And then under the Superstore, we want to return every single thing that we've removed. Right. Now, for the merge tables, we can use it to communicate with the two tables. Let's say, for example, under the Superstore table, we have category, we have the city, we have the country, we have the customer ID, and then we have the sales. This is all that we have inside of the Superstore table. And inside of the orders table, choose columns, we have the category, we have the city, we have the country ID, we have the customer ID, we have the first name, we have the last name, we have the sales, we have the region. You will realize that in the orders table, we have more columns than in the Superstore table. Inside of the Superstore table, there is no customer name. Inside of the orders table, there is customer name and there is region. So if you want these two tables to interact together so that they are going to have some form of communication, we can use the merge query option. So we can also merge queries or merge query as new. Let's go with that. So merge query the superstore table, and we're going to say together with the orders table. And the next thing we're going to do is the type of join that we want. So we have the left outer, we have the right outer. If you have studied or if you know about join, this is going to be quite easy. And if you don't understand the basics of joins, you may take our SQL course so that you can have the first class knowledge on what joins are and their use cases. So in this option, we may be going with left outer, which means it's going to join all the information from the left table, which is the first table, the superstore, then the matching record from the second. Then when we are done with that option, we can also try other options that we have available. But before we do that, we have to select the columns where these two tables are going to be joining. So I want to join based on the customer ID. Before you can join two tables together, you need a column that exists between the two tables. So the customer ID inside of Superstore and the customer ID inside of the orders table. You cannot use category, you cannot use city, you cannot use country, you cannot use sales, because all of this information can be duplicate or are duplicates. So the customer ID is going to be able to fetch the customer name, but the sales, which is 19, will not be able to fetch the customer name because we have 19 for Saunders, we also have 19 for Van Off. Another person can have 19 in sales. But the ID of Lycori Saunders will always be the ID of Lycori Saunders. So when you want to join two tables together, you should ensure that you are using the primary key or the unique identifier. Then when we are done, you say OK. And what you realize is that the two tables has now been merged as one. As you can see, we now have the orders table together with the superstore table. So all the information that you may want to fetch for customer for the superstore is now right here from the orders, which is going to be simply fetched. So you can access the orders table by clicking on any of these. As you can see, these are all Lycori Saunders that you have inside of your superstore by referencing the orders table. So the orders table, under the merge, we have the first customer, which is Lycori Saunders. So to access the person, you can easily just click on their information. So that is how you can reference or you can merge and append queries in Microsoft Power Query. See you guys in the next video.